this company is 10 years old now, or just about. If you told me 10 years ago it would cost me $100,000 to open up a food truck, I'd say you're on crack, right?
Yeah.
You know. But that's exactly what it costs today, right?
That's pricey.
Because the cost of a restaurant is so bloody expensive. So the entry point, that people are coming in on and with their incubator ideas and saying, well, let's do it as a food truck. And if it really does well, we can look at a bricks and mortar restaurant, right? But look at that; it's $100,000 for a decent truck, and your license and your parking fees and your this and your that the city wants from you, right?
Is there any way that you can, like the same group that bound together for Chef Bites, could get together and start talking to the city as a collective and go, like, what is going on here?
The city doesn't care what we have to say. The city doesn't.
And realistically, like we're just
a bunch of chefs, right? Yeah. I mean, granted, some of the chefs in that group are some big name chefs, but
and also you help with the culture of the city, so they're looking for culture, they're looking for greater.
But like
I bring the culture down, man.
You just said though at the same time that we have too many restaurants in the city.
Well, but I think a lot of them are in the process of folding, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen quite a few restaurants folding. I think the unfortunate byproduct of that is that too many restaurants means competition for really great restaurants who ultimately decide we're going to fold in this environment. It's no good, and we lose some great ones when we should have just been losing crappy ones the whole way through, right? But that's not the way the economics of it works, right?
Gotcha.
Unfortunately. All right. Well, thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break. Listen to Jen from Foodie Prince tell us about those 3 events that should be very interesting. We're going to listen to one more song from Lights in August, and it's going to be Falling Down, and we'll be right back with Jason Laurin.
Thanks, Nick and Andrew. This week, I'm here to help you beat the January blues. Perhaps you've been hiding indoors of late, trying to stay warm. Well, if you are looking for an excuse to go out and have some fun, then you're in luck. Though these events I'm about to suggest are for next weekend, I'm going to give you a heads up on them though, because you might need to do some pre-planning if you're looking to create a foodie weekend. First up is the 2nd annual Dine Wine Wintertime event in support of Youth Services Bureau. This is a 2-hour tasting of small plates from chefs from some of Ottawa and Gatineau's top hotels, including the Arc Lounge, Brook Street, there's the Delta, the Hilton, the Chateau Laurier, and the Westin Hotel, just to name a few. And it also includes some Canadian and international premium wines for you to try. Now, this event will be taking place next week, Thursday, January 29th at Ottawa City Hall from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Tickets are $100 a person, and if this is your thing, then for the complete list of all the participating chefs and hotels, and also the evening's menu, and to purchase your tickets, you can go to www.dinewinewintertime.com. All right, how about my second recommendation, which is the Gatineau Winter Beer Fest. Now in its 4th year at the Canadian Museum of History, which used to be formerly the Museum of Civilization, you can have a great time with friends discovering artisan and local brewers inside the museum's grand hall and outdoors. And something that's new to this year's Beer Fest, you will be able to find a selection of Ontario beers. So this 2-day event, though, is only for those ages 18 and older. So make sure you bring some ID with you. It takes place Friday, January 30th, starting from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m., and again the next day on Saturday the 31st from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. Now, admission tickets can be purchased ahead of time for $10 up until January 29th. You can do it online, or you could get them at the museum box office, or you can pay $15 at the door. But please note that you still need to pay taxes on top of the price. But if you are a museum member, you can get a 10% discount. You'll also need to bring some money, though, if you want to purchase some food and beer coupons. And again, these coupons can be bought prior or at the event. And if you're also interested, there's a beer and cheese pairing workshop, but this is also at a separate cost. So for the complete weekend schedule and to purchase your tickets, you can go to www.festibiere.ca, and Festibiere is spelled Festibiere. All right, So for my last suggestion to make a foodie weekend, how about the annual Bruce House Kitchen Party, which is taking place on Saturday, January 31st at the Glebe Community Center. This year's theme is the Wild West, so come dressed up in jeans, boots, and perhaps a plaid shirt and cowboy hats. The Wild West Kitchen Party is in support of Bruce House and for those who are living with HIV and AIDS in the Ottawa community. There'll be music, there'll be a great DJ there, dancing, whiskey tasting, and some winter bites and cupcakes. And if you've always wanted to try riding on a mechanical bull, well then, you're in luck because there will be one there. So tickets can be purchased online and they are $70 plus a 99-cent processing fee. The party starts at 7 p.m. and up until midnight. So go to www.snapuptickets.com and type in Bruce House Kitchen Party in the search engine and it will take you right there to their event page. So Nick and Andrew, tickets are going pretty fast for all 3 events, so make sure that you don't miss it. And that's it for this weekend. Have a great weekend.
So I'll run, escape the feeling left here inside. Forget about the things left behind before my life falls apart, and I'll be a new person now that I'm free, and now I can breathe. Yeah, now I can breathe. Where am I going with myself? With so many changes and so many faces are gone.
All right, thank you so much, Jen, and thank you, Lights in August. Of course, see them Friday playing at Zaphod's with Weird with Cats. And we're back with Jason Laurin, the head chef and owner of Essence Catering. So I guess we'd like to know a little more about Essence Catering, like exactly, why you started it, maybe why you called it Essence Catering, and primarily what are you who your clients are now, and
So we started Essence just a little over 9 years ago. What made me start Essence? Well, I started a catering company because I couldn't afford a restaurant, really is what it comes down to. Right from the day we moved into Hintonburg, I was eyeing Hino. I was like, that place is going out of business, and I am going to sweep that thing up as soon as it goes out of business. I don't understand it. It's still there, right?
Yeah.
So we just couldn't afford. We went around. We looked at spaces when we were doing this, and it just was not going to be realistic for us to open a restaurant. So we decided, for me to stay in this industry and kind of get some joy out of it, it had to be for myself. So we said, well, let's open a company that does private dinners. As for the name, Essence, my ex-wife and I toiled over the name for quite some time. I have to probably be honest and say I think that name is hers. I think she came up with it.
You won that battle.
I hate to have to say it, man, but I got to give her props in that one. I think she came up with that name, and we looked at a bunch of them, and that stood out pretty good.
Yeah.
And what types of food are you serving now in clients? Is it the same as 10 years ago? How have you changed?
So I think when I first started, I did run this kind of like my own personal restaurant, and I served the food that I wanted to serve. And it took me a while to figure out that I really need to serve in this segment of the industry. I really need to serve what my customers serve. So when people ask me what I kind of do anymore, I'm all over the map. It really doesn't matter to me. I just want to cook the food that my customers want to eat and make sure that they're happy. So that's whatever, right? Like I just signed a party today. It's going to be an all-Canadian party, right?
Okay.
Nice.
So people are showing up at the event as their favorite Canadian, which to me, I think that's really
That's
great.
very
I can't wait to see, right?
Yeah.
And we're serving all Canadian food. Well, that wouldn't typically be what I would do, right? So we've got to cater to their desire for that, and I've figured out that that's just really
What are
the
we
only
looking
way
at?
to.
Poutine? I
Yeah,
guess.
Putin's
I don't
the
know.
only thing I'm
We'll
thinking
come
of.
up. Well, I have a French Canadian background. There's a lot of French Canadian food.
French
so,
onion soup.
You
I don't
know,
if it was Paris. I don't know.
well, some research will be done, and
Yeah, I guess.
I'm sure there will be drinking involved.
Who are you dressing up as? Who's
You
your
know,
favorite Canadian?
I typically try to involve myself in the parties.
Yeah.
I'm that kind of guy. I haven't really decided yet, but I'm definitely going.
Who's your favorite Canadian?
I don't know who my favorite Canadian is, but I might go as a Canadian rock star of one kind or
alright.
another.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Okay.
Right on.
I think, something with big hair, maybe somebody from Platinum Blonde, or maybe try to pull off a Geddy Lee or something. I don't know.
Old school Kim Mitchell.
Yeah, Kim Mitchell, good
There
one.
you
An
go.
OPP hat and some long hair. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
There you go.
Do you see? You've mentioned that you started kind of doing food for yourself, and then you're doing it for others, obviously, and delivering what they want. Do you see Ottawa as a whole, as the taste buds kind of changing as time's going on here? Are we getting a bit more experimental than we used to be, or is it?
I think I actually produced more experimental food when I first started out, because I was still very caught up in the contemporary cuisine that I was doing at the time. So we were doing a lot of funky stuff. I've found, at least in the last couple of years, people really want home or comfort. Maybe not home food, but they want comfort food that's dressed up. So if you can do that and make it look nice, I think that for the most part is really what people are looking for. For us chefs, that's also a good thing, because it does help keep the cost down a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? But again, as a caterer and doing a lot of weddings, I go through a lot of beef tenderloin. I mean, yeah.
What are the general sizes of parties that will come to you for an event?
That's changed over time.
Okay.
So when we first started, I'd do a lot of dinners for 10, 20 people.
Do you have a minimum?
No, I don't really have a minimum. I've done dinners even recently for 2 people, right? I mean, it's going to be an expensive dinner. But
We can
yeah, you can swing that, eh? I'll tell you how much that costs. But typically, as we've grown, I'd say over the last couple of years, especially as we've gotten more known for weddings, I'd say our average booking now is somewhere between 70 and 100, with what I consider large ones or anything approaching the 2s. Over 2, I'm usually pretty picky about what we're doing, because the logistics of something that large, like over 200, to do the kind of stuff that we do it's a logistical, not nightmare, but it's a lot of logistics, right? So I'm really very leery of the budgets that we get for those kinds of events, because I want to give people more than they pay for, and that's really important to me. And I want to make sure that we're not, we're not going to broke ourselves over an event just to say we did 250, right?
Yeah. Have you ever had any really obscure requests for a dish?
Oh wow, I'm sure I have. I don't have anything really jumping at me. I mean, I remember the first time I got asked to do a cassoulet in the middle of the summer. I thought that was a little odd, but no, I don't typically look at people's likes and dislikes oddly. We just did a wedding just recently where the bride was allergic to everything, so much so that he had a business card with her allergies on it. I thought that was really quite brilliant, right? A business card with, she is allergic to this, and this, and then you had to turn it over, this, and, I was like, wow.
Wow, that's a fun.
So that's more the obscure now, is really the food restrictions, right? I'm gluten sensitive. Oh, is that bread?
How many gluten things are coming up now?
I don't have a problem with somebody who's a celiac. There's been some in my family.
100%.
Serious thing,
That's a
right?
terrible
We take that ridiculously seriously.
100%.
I am completely fed up of some woman that farts if she eats a piece of bread and she's a celiac. Let's get our diseases straight here.
But
gluten intolerance.
If you give me your food restrictions, we will follow them. Right, I'm not going to call you out on them. They are what they are. But it makes me laugh when someone tells me they're a celiac and you're watching them, or they're lactose intolerant and they're scoffing back to cheesecake like no tomorrow, right? And it's like
only once. That's not a problem if you're saying that.
It's just a small thing, right?
So one awesome thing that we know about you is you help out with so many charities around the city. And I just love you do every year for Christmas you do the 25 turkeys.
Yeah.
How was that, and what do you do for that?
Well,
and how do you get involved? How did you start doing that?
I started doing it because I wasn't selling